everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this channel is all about traveling, reselling, vintage. If that sounds interesting to you, you can go ahead and hit subscribe or give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. Today I have something that I don't see very often, and that is a vintage specific thrift haul. So I picked all this stuff up at the Goodwill Outlet, which if you don't know, it's where Goodwill sometimes sends like donations that they don't sort through, or they'll send the pulls from the store. And there's just all kinds of treasures there, and it's by the pound. So at my bins, we pay $1.39 per pound for the clothing and purses and accessories and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and dive right in and show you what I picked up. All of this stuff I believe to be vintage, which is 20 years or older. So the first thing I picked up is I do really well with just all kinds of leather bags in the fall. And this is just like a leather briefcase. It does have some wear, but I always think that's part of the charm of having vintage. There's a big pocket in the back, and the inside has quite a few pockets as well. And the tag on it, it's got this tiny little tag here. You can see it says genuine leather. And it says made in Colombia, so I thought that was nice for a guy or a girl who wants a briefcase. Yeah. The next thing is these boots. Most people wouldn't pick these up because they're pretty beat up looking, but that's not really a problem for me. I'll clean them up, and then I think a lot of the charm of vintage is the wear. And these have a stacked wooden heel. They're probably about from the 70s, and there is a brand inside. I think it's like Madeline something, but I can't see it right now. But there is a brand in the bottom, and they have leather soles, so you can see how worn they are. But I'll still pick that up. The next thing, these are from the 90s big time. So these are vintage. They're my size, so I'll be able to model them. And they are candies. And they're totally from the 90s. They're these huge leather like platforms, nice like cushioned sole. And I just thought these were fun for the summer. Why not? 90s are in right now. Why not? They're heavy. They probably cost me, I'm gonna say like $3, maybe $3.20, something like that. This is, maybe you saw this in the corner of the screen and you were like, what is that? This is a crinoline. Get it the right way. So this goes under a really full skirt, and it just makes it stick out. So like the 1950s, or like a lot of the reproduction pinup styles, you need a crinoline, and this is an authentic vintage crinoline in a pretty like salmon pink color. It does need repairs, so it's got, somebody has safety pinned the tool to the top of the slip in multiple places, but I sew for a living, so it's not a problem. I'll just go in a couple minutes to fix that. I try not to buy too many things that require fixing, but vintage crinolines are a little bit on the rare side, and the last one that I purchased, I sold within I think a couple of days of listing for somewhere around like $35 or $40, so it's worth the time if I've got it. This is just a vintage wool skirt. It has the metal zipper, or no, I'm sorry, it doesn't. It has a nylon zipper, you can tell there. So I would say this is probably from the 1970s, and it's just a nice like purple tweed, and that'll be great to list in the fall. With vintage, you just have to pick it up whenever you see it, because when you go in the fall and you need wool skirts, like, they're not going to be any. So you just have to buy it when you see it, and you have to store it, and then when you list it in the fall or whatever season, it all goes. So I love to sell these. I do really well with vintage scarves. And this is just like a nice sheer scarf. It's woven with like fringe detail on the edges. And as far as I'm aware, this does not have a brand, but that's in no way a deal breaker with vintage scarves. It doesn't, like, the brand can help give it value, but it's not going to, there's always like a baseline price that you can get for scarves. So I'll probably list this one in the like $15 to $17 range on Etsy, and that's about what I expect to get for it. The next thing, I was so excited to get this. This is a two-piece set, so it's super rare to find a two-piece set. It's from the 70s. It has a label. Let's see if I can find it. It's a vintage size 4, which is small. It's by Bonwit Teller, which is an old department store that doesn't exist anymore. But it was along the same lines as like Nordstrom, more of like a nicer department store. And this is just a pretty like peasant blouse. I think this will be versatile for sizing. I don't think it's going to have to be worn by a size 4, but it's definitely on the smaller side. And then it has a matching skirt set. How cute. Little hook and eye. Oh, that's so adorable. It's got pleating at the top. You can see up close. You can always tell with these vintage pieces, they're so nicely constructed. I mean, you've got, so this is the bottom hemline. It doesn't even look like there's a seam there, right? But it's called an invisible seam. I use bias tape to cover it so there's no fraying. It's just very, very nicely made. I love vintage. Alright, the next piece came from the same closet as the previous one. So a lot of times with the bins, you go in and you'll find like a big stack of the same person's clothes. It clearly came out of somebody's closet, and whoever the Goodwill processing people were, they saw, oh, this is just a big stack of like old clothes, and then I send it off to the bins, and then I come across it and I'm like, yes! So this is another one. It is also a size 4. You can see the ILGWU tag inside right here. They started using that 2-color tag in the 60s, so if it was all blue, I would know that it was probably before 1963. But this one has 2 colors, so basically, let's see if I can show you how this works. You've got, that's the, let's see, okay, so the skirt goes this way, because the pockets go this way. So this pocket's here, and then it has a tie, so it has a little belt, and then it ties over here off to the side. How cute is that? So cute. And it feels like silk, and it says it's dry clean only, so I'm gonna look for garment, what do you call that? Materials tag, but they did not have to put those in until the late 1970s, so there's a very good chance that this will not have one in. If it's from the early 70s, which it does look more that style. This I just thought was cute. It kind of goes along with that like ModCloth aesthetic. It's just like a little bow clutch, brown faux leather, definitely vintage. And it's got the little zippers on the inside. There's no labels or anything like that, but it doesn't matter. It's all about the style with vintage, and it snaps really easily, and it's got the metal zippers on the inside, and it's good and clean. This I got for us. I love woodland stuff. This is a little bath towel. It's going to be for my kids. It's a nice small size bath towel. It's got these little owls embroidered on the bottom. So I'll toss that in the wash. Nice hot wash. Then I'll dry my kids off with it. Alright. Next thing is a sweater. Again, you just have to buy that out of season stuff when you find it, and then when it comes time to list during the fall, you've like already got a ton of stuff piled up that's like gonna sell really fast. So this is a 1980s 100% Shetland wool sweater, and it does have a tag and it has an RN number, so I'll look up the maker, but it doesn't have like a maker tag in it. And it's just got little deer across it. So cute. Little Fair Isle style. It's 100% wool. Oh, and I was obsessed with this. I got a couple of sweaters. This is by the Eagle's Eye. It's marked a size 36. It's 98% wool and 2% other fibers. It's got a little bit of fuzz, so I'm going to assume that's maybe Angora. And it says, made in the British Crown Colony of Hong Kong. So let's say probably late 70s, early 80s on this one. And it's just got a little black sheep on it. So cute. Bright cherry red wool. Love me some novelty print stuff. Oh, that's just a piece of like fuzz. Yeah. Can't wait to list these during the fall. And I will start listing this, like all of my sweaters and wool skirts and wintry stuff in August. August is the time where you really would. Like July, people are, maybe towards the end of July, people are starting to look a little bit, but August is like prime time. So August and September, you want to make sure you have all of your winter and sweaters listed that you have on hand, because they'll just like fly out the door. It's great. This is another one from the same brand, same size, probably came from the same closet. It's just got these little strawberries on it. So cute. Just love it. And Goodwill had this priced at $6, but it does have, I think there was a little hole in it somewhere, or a little stain. But that is not a problem. For a really cute novelty print like that, I'm happy to fix it. So I know all kinds of darning techniques and stuff like that. When you get into vintage, you start to have to learn how to fix things, because you find stuff that's just like amazing, you can't leave it behind, and you get more money for it fixed than you would if it had a hole in it. So you learn how to take care of that stuff. These I just got for myself. Again, like when you start to sell vintage, you start to collect vintage things to fix your garments that you find. So vintage zippers, always buy those. Sometimes you find them new and packaged. These are swimsuit hooks, but they're metal, so that's really hard to find. And this is a grommet punch, which I don't have. So basically, if you need to grommet something, you put the two grommets in here, and then boop. Nice, well-made stuff. All the vintage materials are just like really nicely constructed. This needs to be cleaned because it has some like, I don't know what these like spots are. Can you see that? I don't know what that is. But how beautiful is this giant scarf? It'd be a perfect head scarf for somebody for the spring. And I will need to get these listed soon because scarves are flying off the shelves right now in my Etsy shop. Just beautiful. Nice, sheer, large. Again, no brand. It doesn't have hand-rolled edges. It has machine stitched edges. Here, I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. You see that? Those are machine stitched edges. And it feels like it can go through the wash. So I'm gonna wash it in a bra bag and then line dry it. This is another scarf. I snapped this out of the bin. This is by Roger L. Paris. And it's just got the Eiffel Tower all over it. Somebody will love that. Let's see. This I probably shouldn't have gotten because it's a bit dirty, but I just loved it. It needs to be like all in the wicker is like dusty, so it needs to be cleaned. It's got this leather strap, and this is kind of like coming off, so I need to, it like hooks in with metal hooks on the back, if you can see that, so I'll need to like finagle it with pliers and then like tamp it back down. But it is by Simon. Let's see if you can see that. Simon. And it's made in the British colony of Hong Kong. Yeah, so just a cute little bag. I just love the color. It's rare to find them in that color. So usually I don't buy blazers. They're just not my thing. But this is by Giorgio Sanangelo. And it's called Collectible Gold. And I've actually sold the skirt that so this was a set. And it had like a little pencil skirt that went with it, and I've sold that pencil skirt before in my Etsy closet, or my Etsy shop, and then I came across this blazer, and I mean, he's a designer from the 70s and 80s, and just like well-made stuff, little pockets, you know, everything is lined, it's got the shoulder pads, so I'm definitely going to get that listed, and I'll probably list that around like, I have to look it up, but probably between like 55 and 70, something like that. Here is another little skirt that I loved. This is from the 90s, Jonathan Martin, and it is 100% polyester. It's just like a little mini skirt with like a tiny floral print on it in a beige. It's really nicely made. It's fully lined in like a mesh, so it's like a nylon mesh, so it's not going to stick to your legs, not going to get caught between your legs. And I feel like this is something that Urban Outfitters would sell a cheaper version of. So anyway, I love that. I have no idea if this is worth anything. I didn't look it up, but a lot of times these new in package like cross stitch things, especially if they are a stocking kit or some other kind of kit, they can actually net like a lot of money, a really decent amount of money. But this is a new in package one. I don't know, could be worth $10, $5, could be worth $30, but I'll look it up and see. If it's not worth my time to list it, I'll just donate it back. Okay, still got some stuff in here. This is a great shirt. It's by Eva Laurel. Vintage size 10. This is going to be from the early 80s. Oh yeah. So it's got shoulder pads, but I just love this collar. I actually had a white shirt like this with a collar like this, and it's so cute under sweaters. Just really great. And semi-sheer button cuffs, and I just love that. It's gonna be great for fall. I almost always pick up vintage slips when I see them because they're so lightweight, and if I have something that needs a slip, like for my Etsy shop, maybe something was missing a slip, or even for my Poshmark closet, sometimes I'll find like an Anthropologie dress and doesn't have its slip, but if you have them, you can include the slip. So just pick this up. Nice blue. There's nothing like a good vintage nylon slip, because then whatever it is doesn't cling to your body. It's great. Another little one. The lacy. You can kind of see the tags on these, and you'll know if it's vintage. It's undercover wear, and it does have care labels, so probably from the 80s. Alright, this next piece I'm not sure about, but we're going to try it. It's another blazer. Remember I told you I don't really do blazers, but this is linen. 63% linen, 37% cotton, made in India. and it's just kind of crazy. But I thought someone would look really cool with just like a white t-shirt underneath and like the blazer opened and the sleeves rolled and just like some frayed cut off jeans that are like ankle length. I just thought that would look pretty cool with some like mules. We'll see if someone else thinks like I do. All right. It's another vintage piece. This is from the 60s. You can see it has the metal zipper here. You can see it was dry cleaned. Somebody has a dry clean tag on it, and it says 100% silk, dry clean only. So whoever put that note in there said it was silk. I don't know why they use staples at the dry cleaner. It's a terrible idea. I'm glad they don't do that anymore. But anyway, it's kind of like a longer sort of sheath type of dress. It was pretty, kind of basic, sleeveless. I liked it. Here we go. This one, I feel like this looks like it could come from J. Crew. We'll see if you think the same thing. Alright. Here we go. Like kind of a boat neck, red, white, and blue stripe, 3/4 length sleeve. Doesn't that look like it come from J. Crew? I feel like it does. But it's definitely not. It's vintage, alright. The brand is Beeline Fashions. Size medium. And these labels, I mean, it's nothing to like, it's not like look out for these labels. It's just I'm showing you so that you can kind of see what vintage tags look like and kind of start to understand how to pick up vintage. The great thing about selling vintage too is that it's not like when you purchase Anthropologie and like somebody, there could be like 30 of the same shirt on Poshmark. With vintage, you're not going to find another one of those. And if you do, it's 99.9% not going to be the same size. There's like a 0.1% chance that it might be the same size. So your item is going to be the only one on the internet. And if somebody likes it, then they're going to pay what you're asking for it. So I love vintage. This is Victoria's Secret. This might not be vintage, but I felt like it might be from the 90s, maybe early 2000s. I don't know. I'm not good with Victoria's Secret tags. But it's just like a little bias cut. Here, I'm going to hold it up like this to make it easier. Little nightie. But the thing I liked about it was that it had buttons down the back. I thought that was really chic. And then it has like this split in the back. A little peekaboo booty back here. And that's 100% silk, so it feels really nice too. This is an Oscar de la Renta scarf. It's vintage. Ooh, and here I get to show you a hand-rolled scarf hem. So here's the Oscar de la Renta tag. And here is a hand-rolled hem. So you can see it's got more of like a zigzag pattern. Yeah, and it's got more body to it because they roll the edges in their hands and then they stitch around it to hold it down. Again, you can kind of see here. And even if this tag was missing, I'd know it was Oscar because it has the logo down here. And that's just a very nice muted floral scarf. And that is silk. Alright, just what, 2 more items? 3 more items left. Let's do this other scarf. My mom found this for me. This is a Christian Dior vintage silk pocket square scarf, or like you could tie it around your neck if that was your aesthetic, but it's definitely a men's scarf to like pocket square. And this is the tag here. And it does of course say Christian Dior, so they do brand the scarf. Usually like a designer scarf is going to have the name of the designer somewhere on the scarf, so just look really closely. A lot of times it's around the border, but sometimes it's in the middle. Yes, because sometimes you're not going to find the tag, but you can still identify it. And I just loved this kind of unique. The hem has come unrolled on one side, so this side the hem is not done, and same on this side, unless it was meant to be like that, and maybe this was just the selvage edge of the fabric and then they would cut it along this seam and then roll that. But it's definitely some kind of souvenir scarf. I just like the birds and the colors, and I have no idea where it's from, but I'm sure some kind of tropical country. Yeah. Probably ask for like, I don't know, 15 to 17 for that one. And the last item is a, oh no, I lost a bead. Sweater. Cardigan. So this is crazy. It's by Contessa Visconti. And it is a card playing scarf. How funny would that be to wear to like Vegas or something? I don't know. Or like some kind of Vegas themed 80s party that maybe your friend is throwing. I have no idea, but I just liked it. You know, sometimes you find stuff that's unique and it's at the bins and it costs what, like $1.50, and you're like, I gotta bring that home. Maybe somebody will love it. So that is what I brought home. Size small, Ramian cotton. And that is it. That was the end of my bin that I had set aside. And that's probably the last haul that I'm going to be able to do for a little while, because I am aggressively trying to get through my death pile. I'm sending a ton of stuff to ThredUp, taking a bunch of stuff to consignment stores, donating a bunch of stuff, and just trying to give myself a clean slate for 2019. I really want to get to a system where I buy and then list, and then buy and then list, and then buy and then list. And right now I have like a huge backlog of stuff that I'm trying to work through. And I went to the bins with my mom when she was up here, and at first she was like, ooh, I don't know, but then when we got in there, she totally got into it. And so we ended up getting like a ton of stuff, and yeah, I'm not doing that again for a while. So I've really got to get through my death pile, and so this is probably the last haul that I'll be doing for a little bit, but I wanted to show you what it's like to pick up vintage stuff as opposed to modern stuff. So you really have to use your gut, you have to use your intuition, think about trends, think about like uniqueness, and then you have to pick up stuff that's off season. So if you like to sell vintage, then, you know, sometimes you have to store stuff for a little bit to get it to move. Alright, well, that is that, and I hope you enjoyed my haul, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye!